Breaking news. Due to a misunderstanding, a Russian fighter jet nearly shot down a plane from the Royal Air Force. The U.S. government claims that the missile malfunctioned and thus saved the plane from destruction. According to U.S. defense officials, a Russian jet nearly shot down a British plane last year due to a misunderstood order. According to the U.S. officials quoted by The Telegraph, the Russian Su-27 fighter jet fired on the RAF surveillance aircraft because the pilot misunderstood commands from the ground. Officials said the British plane was only spared because the missile failed, calling it a really, really scary situation. The incident, which took place on September 29 above the Black Sea, was much more serious than reports indicated at the time, according to two defense officials who spoke to the New York Times about the incident. The newspaper was told that the RAF plane, a 30-seater RC-135 rivet joint, was eavesdropping on the Russian Su-27 pilot's communications with ground control. The pilot misunderstood the radar operator's instructions and launched the faulty missile. However, the missile may have been decoyed by the suite of defensive countermeasures carried by the British plane, an explanation the Royal Air Force spokesman refused to discuss. U.S. officials' description of the near shootdown builds on language from a recently leaked Pentagon document. According to him, the Kremlin's explanation of the incident as a technical malfunction disqualified it as a deliberate escalation. An official from the United Kingdom's Ministry of Defence said much of the information in the hacked reports was untrue, manipulated, or both, in response to claims that the incident involved a deliberate attempt to shoot down a British plane. His words were, "We strongly caution anybody taking the veracity of these claims at face value and would also advise them to take time to question the source and purpose of such leaks." Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene began an effort to rebrand 21-year-old Air National Guardsman Jack Teixeira as a victim of President Biden's administration hours after federal authorities arrested him for leaking classified intelligence documents. According to a tweet posted by Greene, a member of the House Homeland Security Committee, Teixeira is white, male, Christian, and anti-war, making him an enemy to the Biden regime. Greene stated that he told the truth about the presence of troops in Ukraine and much more. According to Fox News, the 14 members of special forces stationed in Ukraine are not combat troops but rather part of the embassy's staff. Think about who your true enemy is. A junior member of the National Guard? Or the government that has declared war on a non-NATO country without the authority to do so, nuclear Russia? To which Greene remarked, "The documents were originally shared by Teixeira on a private Discord server known as Thug Shaker Central, but were shared with the public by one of its members." Members of the server who spoke with the Washington Post said there was no intention to whistleblower regarding the documents, and that the chatroom simply had some people in our group who are in Ukraine. "We enjoy war games and games where you fight." When compared to her previous stance on leaks, Greene's position on the security breach is a complete 180. The Congresswoman in 2022 compared the leak of a draft Supreme Court decision that would overturn Roe v. Wade to basically like an insurrection of the Supreme Court, and she demanded an investigation into the source of the breach.